All right, everybody. It's time for another episode of the Late Night Boxing Talks. I do not want to be on very long. Just a couple of stories I wanted to touch on that I didn't feel like doing segments on. Let me post a link for the people on Twitter. And so, still no official word, no official announcement on Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. We're a full week out from that tip, because remember the week of Canelo versus Golovkin 3, they thought it important to say that we're very close to an official announcement. Over a week later, still nothing. So that kind of tells you what that was. You know what I mean? They just wanted to distract people by dangling that carrot in front of them. And like I've maintained this throughout, it shows the ineptitude and the incompetence that there are no other parties involved. It's just Spence, Crawford, PBC, and Showtime. It's just them. And look at all this stuff we have to go through just to get them to make that one fight, which is not a 50, 60, 70, 80 million dollar fight. It's not a fight where you have to break the bank to do the fight. And look at what we have to go through. And you have content creators and their supposed sources always with an update. Oh no, it's Crawford. No, it's like, man, y'all need to just sit the fuck down with that shit, man. Like, just sit down with that shit. What's goody Midwest? What's goody drumming for life? Ow! You know what I'm saying? I want to get some different opinions tonight. I want to get a couple of different panelists on tonight just to see how everybody else is feeling, because you already know more or less how I feel about it. I'm sure y'all familiar with my man Leo, my man Country, my man Jay, Drew. Y'all know how we feel about it. But I want to get some different takes on it. If we can do that tonight or maybe another night later on in the week. For those that don't know, I'm gonna be having Ellie Scottney on Friday. That's gonna be at 2 p.m. USA time, 7 p.m. UK time. I'm gonna have Ellie Scottney on here. She's gonna be taking on Mary Romero. That's the Mary Romero that beat Amy Timlin. That's the Mary Romero that beat Maria Secchi, the Italian-Russian girl. That's who Ellie's going to be fighting. I already did my thing, my prediction video on it, more or less. I'll do a refresher the week of the fight. I do like Ellie to win the fight, and I'm going to get to talk to Ellie for the first time on Friday. Very big fan of her. She knows that from Crawford. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, real shit. So that's going to be Friday of this week. As far as the Crawford and Spence stuff, every week that passes, it becomes more and more of a running gag that look at the amount of time that it's taking to deliver what is otherwise a simple fight. For a perspective, Top Rank was able to deliver Lomachenko versus Lopez in the thick of the pandemic. They were able to deliver Taylor versus Ramirez, that undisputed fight. You know what I mean? They're able to deliver. They find a way. Whereas when it comes to this fight, if the PBC really is the land of milk and honey, and they're all geniuses over there, why can they not deliver this fight? It's not like they've had to deliver very many big fights all of this year. They haven't. The biggest fight they did was the undisputed at 154. That's the biggest fight they did, and it was a great fight. It was a great fight. You know what I'm saying? But that just goes to show you, man, that when the narratives fall by the wayside, these guys never like to admit that they're wrong. They never like to admit that they've, like all you were doing was making excuses. The sides of the street thing, and I said this for 4 years, the sides of the street stuff was always just an excuse, because if it was really about sides of the street, we would have never got Wilder versus Fury 2. Remember, Fury jumped into bed with Top Rank, started getting promoted by them. So man, you guys know how it is, man. It's just more BS and more crap. Floyd Mayweather fought Asakura yesterday in the wee hours of the morning in America. He was over there in Japan. And, what's weird is that supposed to be an exhibition match? Exhibition, no official outcome. I don't know what the commission's rules are for exhibitions in Japan, but are you supposed to be knocking people out? You see, I saw the footage of the exhibition. And, Floyd didn't even land on the guy. He walks over to him, let's go over right hand. The right hand touched him like on the neck or something. Like it didn't land. You could see that their hands was tangled. And the dude went down. And I'm just like, man, and it's like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, what is this really, yo? What's really going on here? You know what I mean? But y'all know, man. Y'all know. I was goody Deb, was goody Biggie, Rod, Old Dirty, Avo, Kamik. You know what I mean? Had Kenny in the house as well. He had Kenny Bayless there. Yo, it was a dive, bro. Like, it's like, I don't want to be that guy, but it looked like a dive, yo. Like, you didn't even hit that dude, bro. Like, you hit him on the neck, bro, or something. Like, it looked like a dive. You know what I mean? And he's saying he getting 20 M's. I'm like, they just giving you 20 M's just because to be giving you 20. Nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. That was a flail. Like, bro. It was a Malik Scotch, bro. It was a Malik Scotch. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, listen, man. Get your bread. But when you have to schedule these kinds of events on this kind of schedule, that you're fighting more often or you're doing more of these kinds of events than active boxers are boxing, yeah, it does feel like you going through something because you did the Don Moore thing earlier this year. I don't think that made any money. You know what I mean? Villain was good. So, Villain, Floyd's doing these things, and a lot of people, they're starting to feel that given the frequency of these exhibitions, that Floyd might be going through some financial woes. Is that outside the realm of possibility to you?
Excuse me. Hey, I just want to say good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody out there is doing well. I would say my concern is that he has mentioned before he's going to be doing some more of these fights. It looks like, obviously his promotion company's not doing well either. They don't have anybody else but Tank. Tank might be spending some time behind bars here potentially as well. I don't really think. Also, the fact of how much money the guy spends or appears to be spending, I don't think things are well in Mayweather's life. So, I think he's going to continue doing these things. I don't think he wants to, because if you did mention, or if you did see, he talked about how he wasn't going to be fighting. He wouldn't be fighting Pacquiao either because he doesn't want to put himself at risk. So he wants these very light touches. Obviously, he would fight anybody. He'd fight a polar bear, in the North Pole if he had to get some money. So the fact that he's doing this, it's very concerning. That I don't believe things are going well. I think he's doing this because there's almost he's forced to at this point.
Look. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm like, you don't schedule. I mean, is this how you want to spend your retirement? This is how? Really? This is fun? This is fun. You go to Japan, some tall Japanese guy throws flowers on the floor. This is fun to you? And you know what the cookie cutter answer is? Well, it's for $20 million. It's for $20 million. It's for $20 million. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. No, I don't.
Well, and think of it this way. He's had how many of those fights over there? He's had at least 2 in the past 4 or 5 years. Now, why, if there was such a demand to see him fight here, then why would he have to go halfway across the world? Why would he have to be fighting at 3:00 in the morning, United States times, if he was relevant, if he wasn't scraping the bottom of the barrel?
I mean, bro, I said, there was a kid, he said it last week, when Dan Rafael came out with his Canelo numbers, right? There was a kid who said, Canelo's not the face of boxing in America. He said that Floyd is still the face of boxing. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, well, if Floyd were the face of boxing, this pay-per-view should do numbers in America. He's the face of boxing, right?
Did they even have? Was there even a broadcasting right to the United States at all?
No major networks picked up the fight. It was on Fight TV. You know, when nobody wants your fight, it goes to Fight TV.
Right. And if he was pulling numbers, well, one, his quote unquote fans would be watching it, and two, we would hear about it. I mean, it would be like, oh, Floyd is still such a huge name, and he has so much value here in the United States, and he did 500,000 buys, fighting a no-namer in Japan or China or Laos or wherever the hell he was at. So you don't hear any of that. So if he was putting up numbers, if people did have a demand here, don't worry. Boxing scribes and fans would let us know about that.
Yeah, I mean, how come none of Mike Coppinger's sources or Dan Raphael's sources have the Don Moore numbers? That was, earlier.
Don Moore, wow. It's just another level of relevancy. And to be honest, I don't have an expectation for him to. I mean, he's going to fight cab drivers, and he's gonna fight nobodies in other countries, which is fine. And if he's getting cute little paychecks to do that, I don't blame athletes after they.
I don't blame him either.
But the ideology that he's still, relevant. He hasn't a fight since 2017, 18, probably. I mean, and I don't really consider the Conor fight to be a realistic fight either. So
I mean, think about it this way. Manny's got one of these things coming up too. So I have no issue with Floyd doing this. I want to make that clear, that it's not that I have an issue with it. I have no issue with it. If people are really willing to pay you vast sums of money the way you say they are, then by all means get that money. It's just that, being honest, I don't really believe him because of the frequency of these events. That if you really sold 1 million pay-per-view buys with Logan, why are you still out here then? Like, what are you? I don't know. Like, something feels off. That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question. So when you meet somebody or know somebody who says, I'm retiring, I'm close to retiring, how do they tend to act? They act pretty relaxed. They spend their time doing things they enjoy. They give off, vibes, or they give off signals of, yes, financially I'm in good shape. Yes, I don't have a care in the world. The fact that Floyd is doing these things, tells me that there has to be a reason why. Because if you meet somebody, who has a house, cars, family, whatever it is, and you deem that they're pretty well put together, but suddenly they got to pick up a second job, and now they're not home on the weekends, you're probably thinking, something's off, something's going on. Maybe financially it's not going so great in that household, because they don't want to lose the position they have in life. So if the guy still wants to fly around in a private jet, if he still wants to have the multiple houses and live the lifestyle he is, then he's having to keep doing that somehow. And we can both agree that his promotional company's not doing it.
Well, that's the same thing. I always go back to that Mayweather Promotions really promotes one fighter. They do about 2 shows a year, and they're both Javonte Davis fights. You're not going to tell me that Rolly Romero is keeping the company afloat. You know what I mean? Like no.
And in the lifestyle that he's living, or at least it's projecting, you can't tell me that Tank fighting a couple times a year is going to maintain the fuel for the private jet, for the cost of the private jet, of the mansions, of all those bills. And it's not only that, he's got a lot of other people that I guarantee that he's having to support. So,
well, look, even the goddamn bodyguard had a goddamn fight.
Yeah.
Got knocked out.
Yeah, and the guy was 30 pounds lighter than him? I mean, he pieced
40.
him up good. He pieced him up really well, too.
Yeah, it was a good knockout. But, I mean, even the goddamn and obviously Floyd is not going to be broke the way that, Joe Blow is broke. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Not because rich people don't go broke the same way that other people do. But it's just that it feels like you haven't outgrown, and I often bring this up, that, guys that started out as rappers and things like that, right? They graduated to different kinds of hustles that bring them residual revenue to where they don't have to do what they were doing before. Like Jay-Z never has to cut another record in his life if he doesn't feel like it. And you know what? He doesn't. He's not out here scrambling, making albums. Neither is 50 Cent. Yeah,
Yep.
he might do the occasional tour, because I know 50 Cent was on tour in Oslo, but everybody knows he's getting studio money because he's in the TV business now. Whereas when you look at Floyd, you still seem like you're prize fighting. Even if they're exhibition matches, you still seem like you're prize fight because you're getting out there like a dancing bear. You know, you fight the Asakura guy and Don Moore and Deji, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I was having that conversation with my buddy just on Friday. We were talking about that, about Jay-Z. And I also mentioned, I said, look at 50 Cent. I said, if he puts a record out, it's no longer relevant. He hasn't been relevant in rap in a while. But if you look at it, he's got that alcohol line. The guy didn't even drink alcohol. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, he doesn't even drink alcohol yet. He's promoting that. He's got money from the studio. That guy's got his hand in 4, 5, 6, 8 different avenues of making money. And the same deal with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's no longer a rapper, but he's a personality. But he's got his hand in so many different pots that he's got
residual revenue. And I'm like, I heard something. I don't know how much money he is or isn't getting. I don't presume to know. I heard he invested in some real estate in downtown Manhattan. And I know, look, that's not cheap, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, it just really feels like you're a dancing bear. Like it gives, like, because how much money could you have made fighting your old sparring partner? Just being honest. Like, I'm not a millionaire. I know that, but I am a consumer. I'm a consumer. And I know there is no demand, at least not in America, to see Floyd versus a guy that he used to spar. There's no demand in America to see him against Asakura, and that they give you $20 million.
Let me ask you this question. So if you notice that, like you said, like we both kind of just mentioned, he doesn't have a demand in the United States anymore, right? But if you take his name and you take it to some place that's a little more obscure where they have a lot of money, like the Middle East, if you look at a place maybe over in Japan or the Far East that does have more money, I think the guy's trying to peddle his wares where he can. And honestly, that screams of desperation, to be brutally honest with you. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign that you are, like you said, you're still having to box. You're still having to be the quote unquote dancing bear, and you're doing it in pretty obscure places. And another guy who did that, who's not on the level, obviously, is Badu Jack. He took his whole entire situation. He moved over there because he basically said there's money to be made there. And I'm not really relevant anymore to that point. And since I'm not, I'm going to go where the money is at. And I think that you'll probably see Floyd fight there again, because if they do give him a $10 million check, guess what? He needs it. I mean,
as consumers, both me and you have an insight that can be reverse engineered to speak to the situation, in the sense that, look, we watch boxing and we know what we want to pay for and what we will not pay for. You see what I mean?
Of course.
So if there were a demand for Floyd to fight someone in America, well, I don't think it's Don Moore, and I don't think it's Asakura or Deji or any of these people. And I don't want to see another McGregor fight, even though he started talking about that. He started talking about that last week, doing another McGregor fight. And even McGregor blew him off. Like, bro, I'm not interested. I'm like, McGregor's about to be in Roadhouse, a reboot of Roadhouse. You remember the Patrick Swayze movie?
I watch that movie probably 3 times a year. It's great, awful cinema.
I love bad movies, just like Quest with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I love an awful movie in the middle of the afternoon.
Of course.
And the fact that it was Floyd revisited, like, Floyd, you won the fight. Why the fuck would you be courting the idea of a rematch? It's not Conor doing it. It's you. And I'm like, this guy's got money trouble. I'm telling you, the guy's got money trouble. Something's not right.
The thing is this, and it happens to a lot of athletes. I mean, if you look at the statistics of football players, I think they said 80% of football players are bankrupt within 5 years. This guy, from everything that can be seen, he is living a lifestyle that he still lived when he was making $100 million a year. He's not making $100 million a year. And by not doing that and still living that lifestyle, you're eventually going to go broke. It's impossible not to. You cannot continue to live a lifestyle that you can't afford. And the thing is this, there's no way, you're not going to convince me otherwise, that guy is pulling as much money as he was at the height of his fame.
No,
And so
of
this
course
is
not.
smoke and mirrors to do this. That's why he's going to end up fighting a tiger in the middle of Africa.
He's going to end up with fucking Al Heyman, Leonard Ellerby, and a tub of mayonnaise with a couple of pool noodles. All right, now let me read the super chats. We got Shelton in the building. Tony Boswell says, much respect. Ring IQ in chat. Stopped in to show support. Hit the like button. Salute. Work comes early. Good tonight. God bless. Appreciate you, Tony. Always a pleasure. Luis Puente says, how much can Floyd be making from promoting? And look, that's a legitimate question because we're not talking about a promotional outfit that has several fighters that bring them in revenue. We're really just talking about Javonte Davis. No one else at Mayweather Promotions is bringing in anything. It's really just Gervante.
One last thing I just want to add real quick. Everybody out there right now, make sure we hit the like button and we support Julius. Make sure that algorithm helps out. So everybody hit the like button if you can.
Now, Shelton, we're old guys, older guys. We're not young. And when we see that things move a certain way, we have instincts. So do you feel like it's at all ominous or at all concerning the number of these events that Floyd is participating in? And I want to preface everything because it's not like Manny's not going to do it. Manny is doing it. He's going to fight one of his old sparring partners. The thing is, Manny has always had a reputation for being bad at business. He has. He always had that. That's why he jumped into bed with Audi Attar, even though he was already in bed with Sean Gibbons and all these other people. You see what I mean? So are you concerned when you see that Floyd is being, involved in so many of these things? What does that communicate to you?
First of all, have a good Sunday, man. Hope you're having a great Sunday. But it communicates to me that Floyd is doing the exact thing that he said he would never do. He said he never wanted to end up like those other fighters. Well, this is what happens, Julius, when you retire. When you retire, you're no longer bringing in what you were when you were working. Mm-hmm. So once you retire, you have to adjust your life to the money that you're bringing in.
If any.
And as we've seen from Instagram and YouTube and all these pictures that Floyd puts out, Floyd hasn't adjusted a damn thing. He's still on the private jet. He's still doing this. He's still doing that. But the difference is you're not getting that $30 million payday every 6 months or $50 million payday every 6 months or whatever. You're not getting that anymore. And like you just pointed out, which is true, the money team promotional company, TMT Promotions, Mayweather Promotions, they only got one fighter.
You got one fighter.
And he ain't making that much money because they ain't paying him shit.
Exactly. So, I mean, we're talking about a $5 million gate, which is not bad. I don't want to misinterpret the truth. The truth is that, yes, Gervonte Davis on a small scale, yes, he is a draw. He did a $5 million gate at the Barclays. But are you keeping the company afloat and Mayweather afloat with a $5 million gate? Bro, he used to wipe his ass with that kind of money.
Yeah, and you got to remember also, when you do have a $5 million gate, the tax man got to get his.
And don't forget, you got employees to pay. Like you said, taxes.
They got to get theirs.
They got to get theirs.
Javonte got to get his.
I mean, like, what are the costs of his shows anyway?
So what's left out of this $5 million?
I mean, that's why I think that, look, because Jay made them, that's a valid question. The shows and the opponents, they don't cost much. So there's definitely a profit margin. There is. Because what does Rolly Romero cost? What does Isaac Cruz cost? You see what I mean? These guys exactly. So you're not breaking the bank to do these events. So it's actually possible that, yes, there's a profit margin, but not what Mayweather used to see. Mayweather, you're talking about like 40 million, 30 million, however many millions at a time.
Now, he broke the bank. Floyd broke the bank with his shit. He really did. So, yeah.
Now let's move on from Floyd a little bit. I want to go to Coach Malachi. Coach, the rumor mill is spinning. And what it says is that Tommy fucking Fury is about to fight Tyrone Woodley. Now, what does it communicate about Tommy Fury's professional boxing career that he's about to fight a retired MMA fighter?
You know, I'm not gonna lie, Jules. I've been doing some research on, I forgot what they call that type of fight boxing now. The Jake Paul, the KSIs. I'm gonna start covering those fights. I'm going live for those fights. There's a huge audience for them. Something I said I would never do, but I realized, I said, you know what, man? You know, I need those crossover bucks. So I gotta get the crossover bucks, man.
Like that?
Yeah, hey man, look here, man. Hey, bruh. I looked at, listen, Jules, you might not know this. KSI just fought like 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna answer your question. The press conference was packed.
Yeah.
He sold out the O2 Arena.
Yeah.
There's a huge audience for the Tommy Furies, the Jake Pauls, the
I get it.
You get the right people. So my thing is this. What I think about, what they called it. They called it crossover boxing or something like that. There's a huge audience for it, bro. Like literally.
Well, listen. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Get your money, because that I am not against that. You see what I mean? My whole thing with not covering those things to a certain extent is I'm genuinely not interested, and it kind of reminds me of, I know how to draw, right? And all my friends always, they knew I knew how to draw, and they knew I had a thing. Don't ask me to draw you shit, because I'm not. I draw for me. I draw for myself, not for money, not for commissions. So that's kind of how I am with that thing, that I'm like, I don't want to look at these fucking guys. I don't want to watch this fucking shit. Like, I don't want to watch this shit. So that's what, but I'm not mad at nobody, because get your money. It is the truth. There's an audience for that shit. Yeah. I'm not in that audience, but somebody else is. So yeah, get your money.
Man, bro, I was shocked. I thought I was watching the Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano press conference. I thought I was watching, when Canelo have those pressers when he has a big fight coming up and stuff like that, or Joshua. I was like, man, what? All of this for this guy? Then I did some research on this guy, and I'm like, man, this dude is huge. Okay, so this where we at. What really made me look at it sideways, Jules, was Jake Paul has a contract with a promotional contract with Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow. Wait a minute. It's not going to attract anyone like me or you, real boxing fans, because we know that's not real boxing. But the people who are involved or the pay-per-views are low too. They like $10, $15, $20, something like that. They're not high.
Mm-hmm.
Well, KSI wasn't high, but I was like, bruh, now Tommy Fury is going to fight. You say Tyrone
Woodley.
They're fighting in the UK.
That's the rumor, right? And see, this is the thing. Tony Bellew, one of my favorite Brits, he wrote an article, right? And it was like, he was really trashing Tommy. Like, he was like, well, look, they used to tell me that this kid was this prospect and he's a Fury and he's going to have a serious career, right? All this serious shit. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to have a serious career and you plan on winning area level titles and international titles and world titles, you're not going to be fighting fucking Tyrone Woodley. What the fuck are you going to learn fighting him?
Maybe he's just trying to grab the bag, man. Maybe he just realized his career
that's what I think.
Quote unquote real boxer is not going to happen, and he's getting into that Kim Kardashian type gossip bullshit boxing that maybe he can get money.
Let me read the super. Do you not think that Mayweather has other businesses? I think Mayweather's just having fun. I don't think it's that deep. I get it, Pterodactyl, but I'm just gonna say this: I'm old, and my red flags are going off. This is what I was laughing at. Jay, read that shit.
Celebrity boxing is like a gay guy in the Playboy match. Oh, that's fucked up. No, but Jules, because my thing is like, okay, so I'm probably like you and everybody else on the panel, but this is like, I know you don't mind the occasional celebrity YouTube boxing event, but like, we're real boxing fans who want to see real boxing with actual boxers, not this YouTube stuff. But there's a demand for it because like there's a guy named what's his name? Austin McBroom. You guys ever heard of him?
I heard of that kid. He got knocked out in his last fight.
By Anthony Gibb, the first guy Jake Paul beat in his debut. And to say that he was leagues and leagues above, like from what I first saw him last. Yeah, like from what I saw.
I mean, you know what the thing is? Look, this is the thing with the celebrity boxing matches, right? These people are celebrities to someone, right?
Yeah.
But not me. You see what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, but Jules, just my point right quick. Like Austin McBroom said after he got knocked out, you know what he said in a statement? Oh, I'm postponing my boxing career indefinitely, and that's what I'm talking about. Because, bro, you're not an actual fighter, and that goes for the same for all these YouTubers. It's like the second they get knocked out and they get beat up very, very bad or embarrassed or dominated, they're not going to want to fight anymore. It's as simple as that.
It is. I mean, you know, Coach, you got a guy. He's a Fury of the Fighting Furies. Big John Fury, who never shuts the fuck up. Huey Fury, who's supposed to be postponing the Michael Hunter fight again, right?
Oh, come on, for real?
No, that's for real. Yeah, like that's real. You know, what do you make of him fighting someone like Tyrone Woodley? Like, doesn't that say that like this kid was never serious? Does it say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen. Tommy Fury is a social media. Tommy Fury is in the same lane as Jake Paul, KSI. There's no difference. That's what he is. He's not a real fighter. He's not a real boxer. I mean, let's just be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know, his dad can talk. Where the gypsies and Chevrolet Timbers ahoy there, and fighting me laddies, drop the anchors. All that stuff sounds good, but fact of the matter is, this kid, he's a pretty boy. He looks cute. He comes from the what is it called? He was on television, right? What is that stuff? Reality TV. He's a reality TV boxer.
Was it Fantasy Island or some shit that he was on?
He was on a reality TV show over there in the UK. So, I mean, come on, man. It's not serious. It's not serious.
I think it was veteran boxing scribe Steve Kim that said it best. You know, you got the Corleones, and then you got Fredo, and you got Fredo, and you have the Fighting Furies. Big John Fury, he was a fighter, perhaps not a very good one. I saw a couple of videos of him getting knocked out.
He got knocked out by Henry Yakin one day.
He did, but he was a fighter. He was a fighter. And Fury is a fighter. And Huey, he's a fighter too. Peter, he's a great trainer. I think he's a great trainer. But then you have Tommy. Shelton, what do you think about Tommy? What do you think about that kid, man?
Honestly, bro, I don't think about Tommy. I don't. I mean, he's a Fury because I really can't stand Tyson Fury. I mean, he's good for this era. He's one of the great heavyweights of this era, but I don't think he's everything they say he is. And
I don't either.
I don't like the way he moves. I just don't like the guy. He's not a likable guy to me.
You know what the Furies are becoming? They're like the Jackson brothers when they came to like singing. I mean, you got down to like Randy now. This is basically what Tommy is. He's like the Randy Jackson of the Jackson brothers. Like, he doesn't really have a whole lot of talent, but his name is Fury.
He's not Tito.
He's Frank Stallone. No, Bill. If he's anybody, he's Frank Stallone. He's Frank Stallone.
Fair.
Those are good comparisons. Yeah, I see Frank for sure.
He's Frank Stallone, I mean, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's doing. It's just that there was a legitimate effort before Jake Paul came into it. There was a legitimate effort at Queensbury to sell Tommy Fury to boxing fans, traditional boxing fans, before Jake Paul came into it. And once the Jake Paul stuff started, it became clear that, okay, Tommy has found his lane. Like he was never serious. If he can make money, just chasing this kid around, that's what he's gonna do. So it's like, wow, so you was never for real then. Like, you wasn't ever legit. Because a lot of people didn't think he was legit based on how he looked. Like, look, he might be a Fury, but he don't fight like a Fury. He don't fight. He ain't Tyson, that's for sure. So it's kind of like the cat's out the bag.
I mean, people are going to end up chasing dollars no matter what it is. They're going to find a way to get money. And if that means they have to be the reality TV, like I said, Kim Kardashian, gossip, horse shit boxer, he'll do it if there's enough money to it. I mean, that's all Jake Paul's doing. I mean, Jake Paul knows he's not a real boxer.
Yeah, but Jake Paul doesn't come from the fighting Pauls. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But what I mean, what he came from, like doing videos in the middle of a forest, and now suddenly he's supposed to be taken serious, calling out Canelo Alvarez. I mean, get real. I mean,
Yeah, but it's like, you know what it is? It's like we always knew what Jake Paul was. Like, we knew. Like, there were no illusions. There are no illusions. But yeah, with Tommy, there was an illusion. They really tried to sell that guy. Like, oh, it's Tyson Fury's younger brother, Tommy TNT. Tommy.
I mean, fellas, you know why I don't call Jake an actual boxer? You know why? Because he hasn't beaten one yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you know what the thing is? I put Jake in a different bracket because he's become the poster child for these things. So at least I can give him that ingenue credit that this is your lane and you carved it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
With Tommy, you're trying to merge into his lane, and it's like, bro,
you're an actual pro. You know what I'm saying? Not like
supposed to be.
I don't even know what to call them anymore. If I'm being honest, I mean,
I think they call them clout chasers, is what they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fucking name for the shit. So let's go to Coach. I want to go back to Coach. We're in week 350, whatever the fuck it is. No Crawford versus Spence announcement. What is your interest level at this point?
Man, I'm so waiting to drop this video. I dropped the video December of last year. And I said exactly what was going to happen. I was wrong about maybe one thing, but pretty much it's playing out the way I'm seeing it. And I don't want to say much until it's official. If the announcement is official that Crawford and Spence is not happening, and I remember some stuff that you made last year as well, hinting the same thing, right? This tells me everything that I need to know. I get it, That means all of the lies, all of the wrong side of the street, networks, sign up to the wrong promoter, Bob's blocking the fight. That tells me that all of that was hogwash.
Yep.
That's what it tells me. And because this guy's a free agent, he's knocking on your door, and still, this is September going into October. So, he's going to be coming up on November, a year, and he still doesn't have a fight. So, this tells me that it was all BS. This guy is all wrong for Spence, and Crawford is going to have to, make some decisions. You're going to have to defend that title soon. Whenever your mandatory is up, fight Virgil Ortiz, and whatever. I mean, Crawford had to see this for himself. Yeah. He had to see this for himself. He had to learn it the hard way. Now he's seeing. Wait a minute. Now he's seeing what it is. So now it's on him. Now the good news is he's not broke. He has a net worth of like $9 million, $8-9 million from what I saw on Celebrity Net Worth. Not just pocket watching, but a lot of these guys like to talk money all the time. I'm like, dude, you do know he has a net worth more than Spence, right? You do know that, right? So, so he was paid well at top rank. He was paid well. So it is what it is, man. But my interest level, like I've been checked out mentally from this. I don't even really talk about Spence or Crawford on my channel. I've been checked out, to be honest with you.
Shelton, have you mentally checked out from that fight to where, because where I kind of am with the fight, it could not happen, and I won't even be mad. I'm like, it is what it is. Are you there with this fight?
I was gonna go to the fight. I was planning, waiting for the announcement so I could get the Airbnb and get the tickets and all that. But football season started, so I don't really care about that fight. I'm looking forward to Eubank and Ben, Wilder, Helenius, Marshall Shields, Haney Kambosos. Those are fights that are actually gonna happen. Tyson Fury and Joshua looks like it's actually gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to those fights. I don't care what those two dudes do, because like me and Coach used to say last year, this is a year ago, Coach. I know you remember this. I wake up every morning, and like a normal person, I check my bank account, see what I got, what I'm gonna spend, what I'm gonna use, and I look at my deposits. Terence Crawford ain't sent me shit yet. So I ain't worried about what he do. I don't care what he do.
Oh shit, villain. You know, I mean, look. It's a great fight, and I'm not even gonna say that. No, it's not. It's a great fight. But can you live without this thing? Would you be terribly vexed or depressed if the fight don't happen?
Yeah, I'll be disappointed. Mainly disappointed because I don't really see any more career out of Crawford. I don't really know much more he can do. Spence will kind of wait it out. I don't think Spence wants to fight anybody at 147 to defend those belts. He'll drop the belts and he'll move up to 154. But unfortunately, I think it will be the end of the road, more than likely, for Crawford. For at least anything that's rememberable. There won't be any fight that will have any merit. So yeah, I think if the fight doesn't get made, I don't really know what more Crawford can do, and it'll always be that, well, what if, what if that fight got made? So yeah, I'll be disappointed, unfortunately, but what can you do? This is kind of what comes on with being a boxing fan.
Yeah, Jay, you feel the same way?
More or less. I mean, yeah, because no, because we, like Shelton was talking about, we still get a lot of good fights to sustain us in the meantime. And yeah, because I wanted to see Terence shut up Errol Spence fans and to shut Errol Spence up by putting a hellacious ass whooping on him, and also for him to go make history by being the 2-division undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. So that's why I'd be kind of disappointed in that aspect. But if it don't happen, I ain't tripping, man. Because I told myself last week, like, if the fight doesn't get announced this week, I'm getting my parachute and I'm jumping off the Bud Spence plane. I'm already midway to the ground, right?
I'm off it. Shout out to my man D Styles, Dragon Styles of the Round Table. Y'all watch the Round Table, G Funky, Maestro, and them. Ow! What a great panel. Good to see Coach part of the panel. Keep up the great work, Jules, and rest of the panel. Saludo. Appreciate that, Don Juan. I see you, Lisa, and I see you, Food Revolution. Food Revolution says, at this point, it's a wash to me. Exhibition City, here they come. I mean, that's just where it's at. I think Shelton said it the best. We have a lot that we are getting, not exclusive to that. So it's not the end of the world to me if they don't fight, because we are getting, and even without that fight, it's been a good year. We got Charlo Castaño too.
It's been a great year.
Serrano versus Taylor. We got Usyk versus Joshua too. It's like it's knockout of the year with Conlon versus Wood. The year's not even over yet. We're getting Ramirez versus Bivol. We're getting a lot this year that I'm not going to lose sleep over them not fighting. But because we do talk about boxing news on this channel, we do have to mention that there still is no official announcement. Over a week later. Now, I saw that one of my favorite young fighters, Shakur Stevenson, he was in action on Friday. The Boo Birds were out. I don't understand why. That was one of the more entertaining fights I've seen this year. And I didn't expect that from two pure boxers. I didn't, because pure boxers don't normally, you don't see a lot of pure boxers in this era that sit in the pocket. See, in previous eras, you had Pernell Whitaker, you had James Toney. Older era, you had Nicolino Loche, where they're pure boxers, but they'll be in the pocket. They're not limited to being on the outside. And there are people criticizing Shakur. Oh, he couldn't get the guy out of there. He doesn't have power. Coach, are you concerned by this? And did you happen to catch some of these criticisms levied towards Shakur?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I absolutely. A lot of people were saying, of course, him missing weight, losing the belts, because he didn't make weight. I don't even think he even tried. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, I think what it is, a lot of those guys, they didn't know what they were watching. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking at this fight and I'm seeing a lot of good things that were going on in the ring. I'm seeing a lot of, just a lot of things that I saw that was going on. Especially with Shakur from a defensive standpoint, the way that he was taking that half step back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He'll take that half step back, defensive posture. I even saw him when he parried or when he deflected some punches and knocked them to the side. I was like, man, why he didn't counter with the same hand he knocked the hand down with, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And then when he sat in the pocket, I saw some things to where, he got hit a couple of times, but he didn't bail out. he sat right there and fired back in the pocket. I love the way he was going to the body with the backhand. You see what I'm saying? But what he was doing to set it up, and honestly, Jules, if you look at from the first, like between the first and the seventh round, the way that Conceição was reacting to those body shots from the back end, I was like, man, I didn't know that he would make it. You know,
yeah, because he was hurt. He looked hurt. He looked like he was spent.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But then of course we saw what happened. Now I picked Shakur to win in the 12-round decision, and I also picked. Check this out, bro. I picked the Juggernaut to knock out Joe Joyce in the 11th round, and didn't put no money on it.
Well, I know you meant. Look, see, this was, you know, and I don't want to go on Juggernaut just yet. But yeah, like if you just thought about that fight, right? See, when there's a height differential between two fighters, doesn't matter the weight. If there's a height differential, the closer you are to the other guy, the more away you are from danger, because you can go to the body, you can smother his work, you can tie him up. But if you stay out there and you're moving away and you're giving up ground, it's easier for that taller fighter to get his hand out and hit you with that jab and keep hitting you with that jab. So Joseph Parker was just like, I don't know what the fuck you were trying to, like, what were you trying to? The only plan I could think of that he might have had was maybe, okay, I'm going to give up a little bit of ground and then shoot the over. And I'm going to try to catch him with the over. Or I'm going to try to catch him with a left hook to the body or a left hook upstairs. Because I'm like, you're the smaller fighter. Your arms are shorter. You can't be out there. You know, he's going to be able to get his arm out and still touch you from the outside coming in. But that's what he was doing. Comes to Shakur. I think a lot of people made a decision that they don't want to like this kid. That's what I think. They criticized him for Nicotila. They criticized him for Valdez, saying that the fights were boring. There was not enough action. He goes in there. He has an action fight. Oh, well, you know, he didn't get the guy out of there. Shelton, what do you think about that?
Coach says this all the time, and I'm learning that it's one of the truest statements I've ever heard. When somebody doesn't like you, there is nothing you can do to make them like you. Now, this kid missed weight. In my personal opinion, the shit was unprofessional. If you knew you couldn't make the weight, and you knew you couldn't make the weight because you struggled making weight for Valdez, you knew you were having trouble making this weight. So if you couldn't make the weight, you should have told him, look, I cannot make this weight. I don't want to get stripped on the scale. Let's just have this fight at a catch weight, or I'll drop the belts or whatever, but I don't want to be stripped. Because those belts and his lineal title was his bargaining chips for 35. Now, in my opinion, I could be wrong, Jules, but now in my opinion, he got to get in line at 35.
Yeah.
To get a shot. He got to get in line now.
He does.
Because he got stripped. But other than that, he won that fight 8-4 at best. My card was like 9-3.
Mine too. I'm like 8-4. 8-4.
Yeah, I gave him 9-3. 9-3. That's what I saw. I saw 9-3, maybe even 10-2.
It's not my honest opinion is 10-2, but I went ahead and said 9-3. Just, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe I missed something, but it looked like a 10-2 to be real.
Right. Exactly. So I don't know what more this kid could do, but I will say this. The same way they crucified Tank Davis, how long did they crucify Tank Davis and miss the weight that one time?
That's true. I mean, look, that's fair. That is fair. I understand, you know, the critiques about the weight. I do. That I get. But the performance and what people were saying, it's like, bro, you can't see how good this kid is. Like, if you can't see how good Shakur Stevenson is, you don't know shit about boxing. You know, that was my thing, that like this kid is so obviously a dynamic fighter. So obviously, like, bro, he does a lot of things well. And because he doesn't have power, we're going to shit on him?
Well, he beat two world-class champions in a row with ease. Then he came back against this guy right here who basically has, borderline world-class talent as well too. And he did it, 10-2, 9-3, 9-3. He's beating these guys like it's nothing. So if you can't recognize the skill set this kid has, then you don't know shit about boxing. He looked phenomenal. He looked very good.
I agree.
What
Yep.
you?
I mean, honestly, 'cause I don't know about y'all. I don't know if I've never seen Conceição get dominated like that.
Me neither.
In any
in any fight that I've seen, he don't get dominated, and he's never even been knocked out. So if Valdez, who is a puncher, if he didn't knock out Conceição, how the fuck are y'all criticizing Shakur for not knocking him out?
You got to find a reason to hate somebody. You got to find a reason to dislike.
They don't like him. They just don't like him.
You could tell visibly that Conceição, he was visibly frustrated. You could tell he was frustrated how through at least 3-4 rounds in a row, you could tell the guy had a ton of frustration on his fight. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with these counters. I don't know how to do with this dude's pivots. I mean, so if a guy like that and a guy like Valdez before that are visibly frustrated on national TV, with this guy, I don't know what more he can really do for fans.
It's good. You know what it's gonna take? It's gonna take for him to be in there with Lomachenko, somebody like that. And even then, I think that they'll try to find a way to discredit him, because what's happening now, and I actually said this a few months ago, as he enters into the lightweight division, he becomes competition for who?
Devin.
Nope.
Haney, Loma, all those guys.
Nope, not them. Who has Shelton? Who's got a cult of people that love whatever he does? Even
that's
when
Tank
they
Davis.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Tank Davis.
There you go.
Tank not gonna fight him. He ain't gonna fight Shakur.
Of course, no. Listen, of course he's not gonna fucking fight him. But what's going on is, as he becomes competition, as he is about to ascend to that division, they have to discredit him, and that's kind of what it felt like. They're like, yo, why y'all being so hard on this kid? Like, he looked great. He looked fucking. That was a great fight, and it was an action fight.
Jules, could it be that they're scared?
I think this. I mean, look. Floyd mentioned two people that he wants to leave Javonte alone.
Yes,
and
he did.
I said it before he said that there's two guys that have the right base style to play with Javonte Davis. One is Devin Haney, but his punch resistance is a little shaky. And another is Shakur. And I would pick Shakur to thoroughly dominate Javonte Davis. Dominate, all right?
If you
Stylistically, he's all wrong for Davis. Floyd knows it.
Tank don't land on him. I don't see him landing at all.
Listen, you're talking about a Javonte Davis that went 12 rounds with Gamboa on one leg.
He also look what happened. Look what happened in two fights against Barrios, who is clearly not nearly in the same galaxy as a boxer as Shakur is. He went basically life and death until probably the two final rounds. Leo Santa Cruz was giving him hell, and then also if you look at it, besides that, Rolly was doing really well against him too.
Yep.
So
if those guys,
if those B+ C level fighters can do that, what do you think someone like Shakur can do for him? I mean, what do you think he can do to him?
I did my recap. I saw an odd comment, because I talked about Rolly winning rounds, that the kid was winning rounds behind using the jab because he is a little taller, a little longer than Gervante. So he was using that jab and setting up his shots, and he was having a little bit of success with that.
Jules, I had him up before the knockout.
And I got a guy in the comments, he wasn't having success. Gervonte Davis wanted him. I'm like, see, all right, bro. So Gervonte wanted to get hit in the face with jabs. That's what you're telling me. He wanted to get hit in the face with jabs. That was his plan. All right then, bro. I got you, bro. And I see that as Shakur inches closer to moving up in weight, he's having more and more detractors, more and more critics. And it dawned on me, well, now he's going to be up there with Davis. You see what it is? He's going to be up there with Davis. And we all know Davis, he ain't going to fight Devin. He ain't going to fight Loma. He ain't going to fight shit. but they got to discredit this kid before he gets there. And I'm like, I said, yeah, that's what the fuck it is. That's what it is.
No, Jules, you hit the nail right on the head. Like these guys, they have their fighters in bubble wrap. You put it. I love when you show the bubble wrap. That shit is hilarious. But they have these guys in the witness protection program, and their fan base are casual, very casual, and they're very fine with their fighters fighting. Fighting non-50-50 fights. We want you in there with some bums. We're going to pray. And I say this all the time. We're you say it all the time too. These guys are not boxing fans.
Yeah.
There's something else. They live their lives vicariously through their fighters. And another thing is this. We're living in an era where the guys who do the most get shitted on and get torn down. The guys who do the least get the most praise.
Yeah.
Coach, you know why they can do that or why they want to do that? Because whenever they don't have to fight those guys, those fans can say the same thing. Oh, he beat Haney in 10. Oh, he beat Shakur in 6. They make up these situations in their mind where they don't have to ever face these guys, but they already know what's going to happen. So the fact that they convince themselves and they're trying to convince others, well, Tank will beat all of them in this situation, then he never actually has to make the fight then. So these guys are already convinced.
Right.
I mean, just like this, because Jules, remember like a perfect example. Remember how like before Canelo took those, he took the B-Ball and Triple G deal. Rumors were going around that he was going to take the Charlo, the PBC deal. So after like a long time of capping, how PBC fans have capping how much they wanted to see Canelo fight Jamal once he might take it.
Complaining.
Exactly. That's exactly what they did.
That he's gonna move Charlo up, bro. How the fuck else was it gonna happen? Of course he has to move up. What, Canelo's gonna come down? No, he's done at middleweight. If you want him, you got to move up. See, this is what it is. I look at Javonte Davis. He's not a bad fighter. I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think his resume is piss poor, but he is not a bad fighter. The problem is you don't have the style for a pure boxer. You don't. You're not a come forward pressure fighter. You're not a volume puncher. You're not a combination puncher either. You throw 1 and 2 shots at a time that the other guy doesn't see because you're trying to knock him out. And against a defensively responsible fighter, you will not have those windows. Now, this is a fighter whose lightweight resume consists of Gamboa, Isaac Cruz, and Rolly Romero. That is what you've done at lightweight. You see what I mean? And you didn't knock out Isaac. Gamboa went all of 12 with you because you stopped him in the 12th. Where people thought this wouldn't go past the first round, it went to the 12th. That's where you stopped him. And you're trying to convince me that Gamboa sees the 12th, but Stevenson don't. No. That Haney doesn't. Gamboa saw the 12th round and on one leg. But Shakur will never. No.
Jules, if Gamboa didn't have that bad leg, he probably would have went the distance.
Man, you can't even, bruh. It's like, I'm not gonna argue with you, dude. You don't even know how to break down fight film. You don't even know what a parry. You don't even know what parrying is. You don't even know, what a sidestep is. You don't even know, how to block with your forearm.
You don't know a right cross. I don't know right cross from a crosswalk.
Right.
I don't know.
It's like, bro, I'm not gonna. You want me to argue with you? You don't know nothing about boxing.
Coach, now do you see why I don't want to argue with people on Twitter? If we're going to argue, it's going to be here where I can record it and make money from it. Otherwise, I have no reason to be talking to these dumb motherfuckers. I have no reason. What the fuck am I going to learn talking to you? What?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you talking about a fighter, for a perspective, ahead of the Gervante Davis fight. Yuri Ortiz Gamboa had been knocked down over 20 times. Knocked out 2 to 3, I believe it was. 2 to 3. And this, you're supposed to be one of the biggest punchers anywhere at or around these weights and in the sport. There is no reason on one leg with a torn Achilles tendon this man should see the 12th round. And you're telling me that an even more defensively responsible fighter who is young and fresh and coming into it, he won't see the 12th because Gervante's just too good. It's too good. It's too hard.
Jules, it's like you said it before, and the brother in the chat said it, and I say it all the time. I say, dude, see, we living in an era where, you know what, my fighter don't need to fight the top competition in the division because we automatically know he'll beat Lomachenko. Okay, my fighter don't need to fight Devin Haney. He has a born style. We know he'll beat him. My fighter don't need to fight Shakur Stevenson. We already know what'll happen. So I say, unfortunately, guys, it doesn't work that way in boxing. You don't get victories by automatically knowing what will happen without the two men getting in the ring to fight. It doesn't work that way.
Case in point, Junior Fa, Lucas Brown. Young guy, huge, in his prime. Lucas Brown had just got knocked out by a goddamn rugby player. But boxing, being what boxing is, who wins the goddamn fight in the first round? Brown! Now, everybody thought was going to get splattered. Wins the goddamn fight. He splatters the other guy, has him seasoned on the floor. That's why you don't get credit for fights you never had. You don't get, that doesn't add any names to your resume. You don't get cool points for imaginary fights from overzealous fanboys. The truth, I said it already, and I said it before. I said it way before Floyd told them to stay away from his fighter, even though that should be indication enough. But I said it before that. A pure boxer is a nightmare for Gervonte. You work off the counter, and you're good at that because the people they match you with, they make mistakes. Like Leo Santa Cruz, he threw the same punch 3 times. By the time he went to fire the third, boom, uppercut, all right? Rolly Romero, he shot the 1-2, his chin's in the air. 1-2, by the time you get off that other 1-2, boom, it's a wrap, all right? You good at that, so long as the guy makes a mistake. These kids don't make mistakes. You think Shakur's? No, bro. And you not. The other thing is, maybe you were that big a puncher at super featherweight. I can believe that. But at lightweight, who'd you knock out, bro? Gamboa went 12 with you. There's a journeyman named Castellanos that finished him in 7. You didn't knock out Isaac. So who'd you, Rolly? That's who you knocked out at like Rolly. And he ain't no goddamn good, and I'm not going to pretend that he is. Kid ain't no goddamn good. Seems to me that Floyd knows what I know. Don't put Davis in there with a pure boxer. They'll embarrass him. He won't know what to do. There's no shot. You got guys, perfect jab. Throw jab, defensible. The other thing about Devin and Shakur is that they are taller and longer than Javonte Davis. He would have to get close to them to try to touch them, and he is not a pressure fighter. He don't step into he don't be doubling and tripling the jab and he don't do that. He'll get on the back foot before he gets on the front foot because he's working off the counter. When Leo Santa Cruz got knocked out, pay attention. Davis was on the ropes. Davis is the one that laid off. You see what I mean? That's how we set up that knockout with Rolly Romero. Once again, Davis is on the ropes. He's backing up, setting up the knockout. But with these kids, nah, bro. They're not going to give you none of those opportunities you need to land that big punch. Floyd knows that. That's why he told them to leave you alone. Like, nah, man, leave him alone.
Now, Jules, like I know you. I know we don't. We got the Ryan Garcia slander around here.
Yeah.
But if he fights Tank, not saying he'd win, I can see Ryan giving him a lot of issues.
So long as Ryan is not fundamentally sound. I don't know if he's not, if they do fight before this year is out, he's got a great jab, great length, and great speed for a lightweight. Do I think he could hurt Gervante with a left hook? Absolutely, I do.
If he lands,
the problem is he leaves his chin in the air when he shoots the left hook. It's way up there, bro.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. His problem is he leaves his chin out. And honestly, I think that at some point in the fight, Tank is going to catch him. He'll get caught.
And more importantly, you shouldn't go in there with the intention of knocking out Gervante. Your intention should be punish him with the jab. If the knockout comes, it comes. But don't look for the knockout. Punish him with the jab because not only are you fast, he's supposed to be fast, you're fast too. But you're tall and long. Use it. You don't need to knock him out. You just need to jab his head off. That will put him in a place where he'll be ready to be knocked out. But it's off the jab and it's judicious. It's only one and two at a time. And feint too, because if you get predictable, He'll time your jab and he'll counter you.
He'll catch you.
You got to box him. That's how you beat this kid. You got to box him. If you try to stand in front of him, letting punches go, he's going to catch you between the shots. And I don't think anybody here feels Ryan takes the best punch. No, you got dropped by Luke Campbell, bro. Like that dude
Luke ain't no power. He ain't no power puncher.
Ain't no power puncher.
He's been caught a few times too. He's been caught a few times as well too, pulling his head back. So it's just a matter of time. He fights the right guy with enough hand speed and ring IQ. It's gonna happen. He's gonna get caught.
He's gonna get caught.
He'll get knocked out. Yeah.
Javi Santana says, "Saludos, coach and ring IQ, two boxing minds that I listen to on my valuable free time. Appreciate you, Santana." Will says, "I genuinely don't understand the criticism with Shakur. I surmised after what he did to Jamel Herring, he could have stopped Robson, but so what? Only the betting slips matter." How ain't that the truth? That's perspective. That unless you were betting on a knockout, I don't see what the goddamn problem is. See, Ryan stands a better chance, and what I found interesting, I did a video on it. I believe it was on Friday. Bob Arum picks Ryan Garcia to beat Gervante Davis. It's very interesting. Because he doesn't have a beef with Oscar the way he has a beef with Eddie. So, and he doesn't seem to have a beef with Leonard. Not right now. Like, everybody's beefing with Eddie right now. If they're going to say something bad about another promoter, these days it's really just Eddie Hearn they're all trashing, not each other. And the fact that not only did he say Ryan would beat Gervante, he beat him decisively, and he has more talent. That was a hot take for me. It's a hot take. Most people are picking Javonte to knock his block off. But Bob, I don't know. Then again, Bob was the guy who picked Parker to beat Anthony Joshua, but he was promoting Parker. So it's like, you're just doing your job with that guy. You're just trying to sell it.
Josie picked Pulev to beat AJ too. Remember that?
Pick Pulev, but he was promoting Pulev. So it's like, well, he's promoting. He's not promoting Ryan.
Nope.
Ryan's not a top-ranked fighter.
That's such to say the least. Yeah, I'm surprised that he would pick Ryan with someone else.
And, I've thought about that fight. I don't know that the main problem that I have when I think about that fight is it takes maturity, the maturity of a Devin Haney, to box a boring fight. I don't mean that as a knock on him. I mean, it takes maturity. If I can beat you with the jab, then I'm just going to beat you with the jab. I'm not going to let you in. I'm not going to give you an out or anything you can use against me. If I can beat you with the jab and a half step back and then tie you up if you get in, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to beat you.
I'm okay with that because
I'm okay with that. And that takes maturity as a fighter. I believe that Devin is more mature than Ryan because he learned from the Linares fight. If you mix it up needlessly, you're going to get clipped. You're going to get hit with something. And I believe that he learned from that, like, why am I going to do this? If I could beat him with a jab, I'm going to beat him with a jab.
You could tell in Linares, he was trying to knock Jorge out. He was. He was taking it to him. Then he almost paid the price. So, yeah.
And I believe that because of things like that he fought Diaz and he fought Linares and he traveled to Australia for Camposos, it made him mature. And I don't know that Ryan is mature because he's like he's like an emo kid. Like, he's in the moment. You want to be sad. You're flipping your hair. You're doing TikTok videos. You're a fucking weird kid. He's a weird kid. He's weird. It's weird.
It's just a level. It's a level of professionalism. And the thing is that Ryan, hasn't had any adversity. And that's the good thing is that Haney was able to learn from that adversity because life is about learning from your adversity and moving.
No, Villain. He did pick himself up off the knockdown in the Campbell fight. So he did face some adversity. He did. Like, we got to give him that he picked himself up and he went on to get the knockout.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm not disputing that, but as you had mentioned before, going to Australia, fighting that huge fight in front of a lot of people, fighting an international fight, almost getting your ass handed to you by Linares. I mean, the thing is, he's on a level. I think he's on a level that's different than what Ryan is more of a regional. He's big. He's a big fish in the pond that he's in. But I think that Devin has kind of spread his wings a little bit more and understands that there's more to boxing and that if he doesn't do things the right way, like take less money, like to fly across the world to get those belts, that this could end really quick. And I don't think Ryan's heart is fully in it. So I don't think they're in the same place mentally and mature wise to push their careers forward. I think Haney has taken a huge step forward, even compared to like Tank, for example.
I agree. Food Revolution says Victorville. Victorville is California. For those that don't know, it's in California, where Ryan Garcia is from. Victorville, California, is full of tweakers. Hey, man, he's a weird kid. Like when I look at him, I think of Lost Boys. People are strange when you are strange. That's what he reminds me of. He's a weird fucking kid, and he has the ingredients. He really does have the ingredients and the tools to win this fight and the raw talent, but he has to bring it together. And you would have to take it on faith that you can get that jab out there and vary the jab. You can't just throw the jab the same way every time, because he's going to figure it out and he's going to counter you. You have to jab and feint. Maybe you throw 2 jabs this time and jab feint, and then jab, or triple the jab, and always maintain distance, because he's a little stumpy fighter that needs to get close to you to get off the counter shot. You're tall enough and long enough that you can make that difficult for him with situational awareness, poise, and maturity. I have seen that maturity from Devin Haney in the George Kambosos fight. I have seen that maturity from Shakur Stevenson in the Nicotila fight. That, this guy's a tall guy, and he seems to hit hard. Well, I'm not going to give him a chance to hit me with no shit, so I'm going to fight cautious. I have seen that from them. I haven't seen that from Ryan. He has the ability to do it, but I haven't seen it. I don't know, man. Do you think they fight this year, Villain?
No. I mean, I heard, and again, I hope, but again, like most fights, you really never know what's going to happen. I heard some rumors that they already had a fight in place for Tank for somebody in December. I don't remember the name exactly they tied with it, but I'm confused, to be honest with you. I saw it was almost a guarantee. You're going to see these guys fight, and the next thing I hear, now he's got another fight with somebody else. They're close to terms. So I really don't know what to think, to be honest. I mean, you would have to educate me on that. What do you think,
listen, I'm with you, bro. I'm in a place where I've heard conflicting rumors that indicate there are real conversations happening, but the fight is not done. And with this court thing looming for Javonte Davis in December, when do you plan on fighting? Before or after the court case? Because if you get sent to jail, well, there goes the fight.
And do they really have enough time? I mean, like we go back to the Crawford fight. Do they even have enough time to make the fight and promote the fight? I mean, we're talking about squeezing that in really close. If we're talking about, early December, late November.
Coach, is there enough time to sell a fight like that between now and November, Crawford and Spence?
No. I remember when I had Rick Glazer on, and he was like, man, what he said made so much sense. He said, bro, like, you need a certain amount of time to promote a fight. This November the 19th date is coming up. You have so many weeks in between now and at that time. I mean, what you're just going to announce the fight and think it's going to be a success, or I don't know. Again, man, that fight is just a fantasy fight, man. That just fantasy. We're no further today than we were 4 years ago when he was talking about it. That's why I'm looking at it, man.
And I want to ask the panel this. Why would they come out and they say this is done verbally? Why would they do that and then pull back 7-10 days and we hear nothing? For me, what was the whole point of even doing that?
Listen, listen. It was Lance Pugmire. It was, listen. All right, the week of Canelo Golovkin before the fight, big story. They're almost done. That was Mike Kopinger. All right. Now, last week, Lance Pugmire, who I respect, he's one of the better ones to me. One of the better guys, Lance Pugmire of the LA Times. And he said this, he's basically reiterating the same shit that we've been hearing. But look, we're here. We're here. It's a week and a half later, whatever it is, right? Whatever. And still nothing. And November's right around the corner. What, you're gonna announce this fight and what do you got to promote it 6-7 weeks? If that?
If the fight is done, if all the parties have agreed, why is it taking so long to sign their name? If that's the point. They say it's agreed upon verbally. It's just a little bit of lawyering, looking over things, etc. If it's already agreed upon, if I'm going to sell my house and we've already agreed, it's literally a few days of paperwork and the house is sold. What is holding this up?
Look, here's a verbal agreement. I can verbally agree to fucking lick hot honey off of Rahana's ass, right? Yeah, that's a verbal agreement. Doesn't mean anything's actually happening. You see what I mean?
Yes, but why say it happened then? Because it's only going to make the PBC look worse if it doesn't happen. You let the cat out of the bag, goddammit. You said the fight's going to happen. Now you're not. Now you're going to pull back on it. And what's even worse is you hear nothing. No one's saying a goddamn word.
Nothing. And that's, usually it's supposed to be a good omen when things get quiet because, that means that people are working. But how quiet are things when periodically we get these updates and nothing happms? It's like you might as well have not said anything at all 2 weeks ago. You see what I mean? You might as well have said nothing for the shit you said and what didn't happen a week later. Just don't say shit then.
It's like bullshitting your wife saying you're on your way home and you're sitting there with a full beer in front of you. Yeah, I'm on my way home, honey. I'm getting there. No, you ain't going home. So what's the point of saying anything?
Now, Cali, Mexico says the closest Ryan will get to being the new De La Hoya is him wearing fishnets too. I'm in agreement. I say it all the time. I'll say it here again. Oscar was a guy that I hated for beating my man Chavez, but Oscar, he didn't duck no smoke, and he was some hell of a fucking fighter. He really was. Win or lose, he's some hell of a fucking fighter. All right, and you got to give him credit for that. Luis Puente says, can Tank take hits to the body is my question. Well, I don't think because of the height differential, right, because we're talking about Ryan, it doesn't really behoove Ryan to bend at the knees and bend at the waist and give up that height to plant a body shot because Javonte could come over the top on him the way that Alicia Baumgartner came over the top on Terry. If you remember how Terry was knocked out, she tried for a jab to the body. Alicia let her touch it with it. By the time she came for the jab to the body the second time, she came over the top with a backhand, and that's how she knocked her out. If you're Ryan, it could be the same thing. You might go for the stab to the body from the outside, and if you keep trying that, he'll time it and come over the top with a backhand. You don't want that. What you want to be is long, loose, and on the outside, and staying on the outside. That if he even takes a half step forward, you take a half step back and keep that jab in his face. Maybe you pop him with the right one time and then bring the jab back out, the 1-2-1, which is a good deterrent to finish the combination with the jab. Don't just 1-2 and get countered. 1-2-1, pop him in the face on the way out. Ryan has to be long, loose, and on the outside and on the move. He's got it's like he can beat him, but he's got to box him. And the second you start trying to play to the crowd or you're in the moment or whatever, you lose this thing, man. You lose this thing.
I think he still lacks that maturity, if I'm being honest. I do.
I don't think he has. That's what I'm saying. We haven't seen it. We've seen it in Devin. We've seen it in Shakur. We haven't seen it in Ryan.
But fellas, about the Spence Crawford situation, do you think it could be it's holding up because one side is possibly stalling?
I mean, I don't have the temperance or the patience to wonder about them anymore. I get Chocolatito versus Estrada 3. I get Bivol versus Ramirez. I get Chantel Cameron versus Jessica McCaskill. I got Taylor versus Serrano. I'm getting Shields versus Marshall. Baumgartner versus Mayer. I just got told when Sinisi Estrada is going to be fighting. I'm very excited for that. And when, it'll be around. I don't know if I want to let it out the bag yet.
You know who? You know who? You don't have to tell
I know.
Okay.
This is just a debut fight under the banner and the unification. Okay. They want to do that next year. A few months into next year, and they're already working on that. So I'm confident about all of that. But it's like we have so much that we've gotten, and we have so much still on the way that I don't have the patience for these guys anymore. Like, man, this should have got done already, man. It should be done. And fuck that shit, man. Now, Alexis says Ryan beats Jeep, dude, case closed. I think that he can, Alexis. I'm not dismissing his chances, but I'm just saying that's what he has to do, and that's the fight that he has to fight. Now, one thing that the jab would allow him to do is create desperation where you're down, where he's down on the cards and he needs rounds, and then he starts to make mistakes trying for shots. That's when Ryan can hit him with a short left hook. The same way he hit Fonseca that oh, you wanna throw your shit, you're gonna jab and you're gonna lunge when you shoot that jab, and then when you try to bring over that right, he sneaks in a left, well, not a right, a left because he's a southpaw, but sneak that left hook in there as he's coming in. He can set him up for a knockout, but don't go for a knockout. You jab. Use your jab, move, feint, and switch it up. But your jab is your best weapon in that fight.
It's Jules. I mean, honestly, like call him crazy, but like, you know, just like how Wilder has a knack for landing his right hand, Ryan's got a knack for landing that left hook. I mean, how he knocked out Fonseca was beautiful. That was beautiful.
And look, sometimes against the southpaw, you know, like, yeah, you know, the right hand is often dubbed the southpaw killer, and there's truth to that. That, like, yeah, that's a punch that a southpaw is vulnerable to. But if you got a good jab, you can set up a good left hook against a southpaw. You can. You can. Especially when there's a height differential where the southpaw has to, like, you. In other words, Javonte Davis won't have lead foot advantage. Why? You're too far on the outside. You're too far. You would have to stay far on the outside to stay out of range of the jab, or jab your way in and get in the pocket. Now, last I checked, Javonte's no pressure fighter. He's not. He doesn't come forward, barreling forward. No, he don't do that. He doesn't do that. He lays off and sets up the knockout. That's what he does in every single fight, all right? So more than likely, if Ryan is jabbing and jabbing and jabbing, Javonte Davis is moving lateral to stay out of range of the jab. And that's what you got to do. Jab him, jab him, jab him. And if you see he wants to take a half step forward, left hook his little ass because he's little. It's fucking real shit. Bivol, Ramirez, I got Zerto. Who you got? I'll get into a full fight breakdown as the fight date approaches. I like to think about the fights, man. I like to think about the fights. And, you know, Davis versus Garcia is winnable for both men. It is. But Ryan has to be composed. You have to be poised, all right? You got to be poised. You got to be mature. If you're in the round and you're having success with the jab, don't be a slave to the moment. Repeat it. You're having success with the jab, don't get fucking cute. Don't do no stupid shit. Get yourself knocked out, you know? The jab is what wins him that fight because you're not fighting a guy that's eye level to you. So lead foot advantage, you don't really have to worry about that. Javonte Davis is going to be on the outside, so the lead foot, it don't even come. He's not going to be close enough to you. He will be moving in that direction, but as long as you maintain distance, keep it long and loose, stay behind that jab, you can stick him. You can stick him. You got to be mature.
Let me ask you this question. I was just thinking about this when you're talking about that. Who do you realistically think has the best opportunity of the people at 135 to actually beat Tank? If you had to rank number one, who would be the one? Over Haney.
Yes.
And why do you give Shakur over Haney, in your opinion?
Shakur's a pure boxer, which is the right base style. He's taller than Gervante, right? He's got longer arms than Gervante, but also he's a southpaw.
Valid argument.
No argument. There's no advantages there for Gervante. 1, Shakur's not slow. 2, Shakur's taller than you are. 3, he has more wingspan than you do. 4, he's a southpaw. So he's not gonna like that. The issue that you normally pose to an orthodox fighter, you can't pose it to him. You're both southpaws, so you're on even terrain. It would come down to who's the better boxer. And I have seen the maturity in Shakur that, yeah, I could take chances with Robson Conceição because he doesn't hit that hard. But when I'm in here with a power guy, when I'm in here with a guy who can crack, You saw he can. Fuck it. We gonna win with jab, yo. Fuck that. In the Nicotila fight, in the Valdez, yeah, we gonna win with the jab. And has he faced a southpaw before? Yes, Jamel Herring. He has everything. He has the experience. He has the style. He has the stance. He's Shakur Stevenson. God damn it.
Hey, Jules, I mean, like, I was just thinking, like, think about Isaac Cruz, how much better he would be if he had a jab.
Well, Isaac's jab, look, Isaac, the way you can make Isaac a better fighter, his jab is not going to be like Shakur's per se, but what the jab that if you're a pressure fighter, you're a small stumpy fighter, lower center of gravity, you can make taller fighters give up their height to you so long as you barrel forward. The jab that he needs is that Mike Tyson jab. It's a short jab, and it's not even about touching him with the jab to set up other punches. It's to get him to cover up as you come forward. You double, triple the jab, and it's not to hit him with it. It's just to get him to cover up. So once he covers up, you can nail him to the body.
That's what I'm saying. Like I say, he could just use that while it doesn't have to be good. He can use that to set up his haymakers or other punches. That's all. Doesn't have to be a world-class jab. Doesn't have to be elite.
Exactly.
He can just use that to set up his other shots.
Because his jab is going to be a key for the most part, since he's a guy who's always looking to come forward. He's always looking to be close to the guy. His jab has to service as a key. It's not going to be a probing jab or even a Joe Joyce jab. Like his jab, what he did yesterday was really nice and nuanced, and I think it fell short on a lot of people that it wasn't a stiff stick. It wasn't even like Golovkin's jab where it was constant, where he keep doing that shit. What he would do is he'd get close to him, then he'd pop him with it. Like, I'm get close, I'm get close, I'm catch a couple of shit, and he'd pop him with it once he's within range, and then once he's within range, pop him with it,
But Joe, man, he beat the absolute hell out of Parker. Oh my God,
love it, man. It's gonna happen to a nicer guy.
I was really, really shocked that Parker, he got tired so fast. He couldn't even keep his hands up after like round 7. I mean, he was barely able to even function. I'm surprised he didn't get knocked out sooner. Honestly, he looked completely washed by round 9.
The way he collapsed, bro, it was a combination of the punishment and the way he just deflated.
The exhaustion. He was tired, yeah. And I think it's probably. I mean, do you guys think it was due to the weight he put on because he came in at his career heaviest for this fight?
Well, it's not just. He got hit a lot, bro.
He did. I mean, he was just systematically beaten, broken down, and by the time that knockout, that punch came, it's like you just tell the experience. He was just spent. He was done.
It wasn't even a lot on the hook. Like it was a slow hook, but that's
was what I was wondering. It's like, was that punch even that hard? You know what I mean?
All right. Jeep beats Haney. Haney beats Ryan. Ryan beats Jeep. One of them quirks of boxing, a la the Ali Frazier Foreman, more like Hopkins, Taylor, Pavlik, because remember, Ali actually did beat Joe in two of the three fights. He did beat Joe. It was close, but he beat it. A lot of hate for Shakur in this comment section. Well, that's because people make up. Look, it's just like outside of boxing. A lot of people make up their mind about you without you having done anything. They make up their mind. So they can say what they want, they can say what they want, but I see a very special fighter in Shakur, very special fighter. And I don't really see anyone outside of Vasyl Lomachenko, who's 34 years old. I don't see anybody outside of Vasyl Lomachenko that can really give him a problem up there. There aren't a lot of pressure fighters up there, a lot of good ones. The only real pressure fighter up there is Isaac Cruz, but he's B minus pressure fighter, not A. If he were an A, not only would he have the movement to always slip the jab, but he would have a jab of his own, like a Mike Tyson jab. Like, you don't think of Mike as being a jabber, but he did have a jab, and it's a short jab. It's short, and it's not about hitting the guy with the jab. It's about getting him to cover up. So once he covers up, you can nail him. That's really what that's for. Because pressure fighters can have jabs. It's not that they don't have jabs, but they use that hand differently. Some guys will use the jab as a deterrent. Some will use it as a key and step into it. All depends on the fighter. All depends on the base style.
I think that Tyson used the jab more for distraction, like you said. I don't think Tyson used it as a punch where he was trying to really damage opponents. Going, if I mentally think back, a lot of the fights he had, he used his jab. I think he used his jab more effectively when he was older, only in the sense he was slower. But when he was younger, he used that jab, but he did it more to kind of get range with the fighter, distraction, so he can get in there and he can start working the body and then throwing that uppercut. So I think the use of the jab changed with Tyson. Later on, he used it more so because he was slowing down and getting a little bit older. But I think early on,
he stopped having a jab after a while. You remember when he was young, he'd go side to side to side to side, jab, and then hook to the body or hook uppercut. Yeah, after a while, his strategy was to lay on the guy's chest and then shoot hooks. He ain't got lazy.
Well, he got older. He got complacent. He got slower. I mean, it happens to. That's what happened to Parker. I mean, I saw Parker look slow, lethargic, even his last couple fights. And I was just about to comment that I can't see that Parker is going to have the capacity to compete on.
Let me address this fucking idiot. Hey, stupid! If you scored the Conceição fight for Conceição, you're a fucking idiot.
Would it get Shakur?
How much more easy does the fight need to be for you to score it? Are you stupid? That was a 9-3 fight, fam. What the fuck are you talking about? You want to talk about fucking judo throws? Look at Rolly Romero and Anthony Yiggett. Stop crying in the fucking comments, bro. You sound fucking stupid. You want to see a judo throw? Judo? That's what you want to talk about? Rolly Romero literally threw Anthony Yiggett to the ground. It's a fight, bro. You're going to get hit and people might throw you. Fuck is this dumb motherfucker talking about? Goofy motherfucker.
I want some whatever he's smoking.
Motherfucker gonna try to tell me something. They rigged. What rigged fight, bro? You telling me that you didn't know how to score that fucking fight? How stupid are you?
Why do they have to rig any fights for Shakur? Why would they have to rig a fight for him?
If you need somebody to explain a fight like that to you, shut all the way the fuck up, dog. You sound like a fucking idiot. That fight could not be easier to score. Silly motherfucker. At least Haney and Shakur have proven themselves. Never mind that. How fucking stupid do you have to be to think Conceição won that fight? Do you have a learning disability? Is that you, Dirk? Stupid motherfucker. Get the fuck out of my comments. I don't need your viewership, you goofy bastard. How the fuck you struggling to score? That fight was so easy to score, I stopped scoring it. Because there's no reason to. It's 9-3, 10-2, the max.
Honestly, you could argue the only rounds Conceição won was probably maybe two of the first three, if that.
I mean, he won. I would say.
How fucking stupid do you have to be? Yeah, they robbed. What are you, an idiot?
Whenever people make those comments, it's better to pull them out of the chat, come on here, and explain to me scientifically how it was. Because if you really believe that it happened, then educate us, since you're so brilliant. I would love to hear how you came up with that.
He said he got hit. He got hit more than Conceição? I'll tell you what, Captain Cataract. You could score that fucking fight however you like. I don't know how many people you gonna find that agree with that assessment. That's all I'm saying. That was 10-2 to 9-3, the max. That's not a hard fight to score. Hard fights to score. Maxie Hughes, Kid Galahad. Yeah, that's a hard fight to score. Stevenson versus Conceição was easy. If you don't understand that, it's because you are a fucking idiot. On that note, I can show, you and your three fucking dumbass friends, you dumb motherfucker. How fucking, what the, this motherfucker really arguing that Conceição won the fight. Do you, really though?
But just come out the truth. You don't like Shakur. Just say that, at least. You know what I mean?
Look. I got a question. Is that a Javonte Davis fan?
Probably.
I bet it is.
Ask him. Say, who's your favorite fighter?
Ultra, you like Javonte Davis, don't you? Just say yes. We all because I'm like, that's not a hard fight to score at all. That was easy.
Ask him who his favorite fighter at 135 is.
So wait a minute. You saying he got hit in a boxing match? Shit. Jay, he got hit, bro.
Yeah. Oh my God, that doesn't happen at all. Oh
my God.
Now
He
listen.
got hit. He got hit in a boxing match?
I'm not terribly bright, but what I do know about boxing is they're supposed to hit each other. That's the whole premise, correct?
That's what I thought.
I'm missing something. You guys educate me
So
on
you're
the
saying
boxing?
that he lost the fight because he got hit in the fight and Robson didn't get hit. Is that what you're saying?
Sir, do yourself a favor and don't watch any more boxing, please. Just
Bro,
don't. Just don't.
Boxing has, I was a big MLB guy, especially in '96 when my Yankees won the World Series. We hadn't won one in a long time. And I was a big NFL guy. My guys was the Packers, obviously the fucking Giants, fuck the Jets. I liked the Bills for a little while when they had Fitzpatrick. I never had to deal with people this stupid in any other sport that I watched, ever.
Yeah, I will agree. Once I became a pretty hardcore boxing fan, I never had a level of frustration more so than having to talk to these imbeciles. They're really the dumbest people I've ever talked to when it comes to boxing, to any sport.
My pops is old school. It's like I'd ask him like, Pops, because I showed him like some of these fanboys and what they be saying. I said, Pops, have you had to ever do anything like this back in the 80s? And he said, never. I don't know what these guys.
Because at least people knew the sport. But it's like, this is the generation of I'm gonna say something just because I have a fucking mouth, and I'm going to sleep. I'm old. I don't even want to argue. I scored it 10-2 Conceição. I scored it for Conceição. Fuck it. Fuck it. All right, gentlemen, always a pleasure, and I'll catch you on the next live.
Have a good night, guys. Take care.